I miss the days when you could make incredibly problematic depictions of minority characters like Jar Jar or the Trade Federation. The Disney Kenobi series, there are 3 episodes out right now. Okay, so yeah, so you said you have watched it?
Yeah, I've watched all the Star Wars series.
You watched the first 2.
And you probably heard by now the biggest controversy of this show. Reva, aka the third sister. Reva is a new addition to the Star Wars franchise and is played by Moses Ingram. Before the show even came out, she was already the subject of ridicule and hatred online as people claim she was only chosen for her role because she checks all the boxes.
Okay, well, that's good. I wanted to introduce us to Reva. Yeah, so this is happening again. This seems to happen.
Don't have to introduce me, buddy.
More and more often with every Disney movie.
How widespread is this, though? Is this just like a couple dumb kids?
I don't know. I think it's pretty widespread. So I stay on the Star Wars subreddits. There's been a lot of people bitching about certain aspects of the series in general, but Reva in particular. And Disney has made just recently made a big statement kind of pushing back against what they're calling the toxic fandom. Ewan McGregor even released a little clip about all the hate that the actress Moses Ingram is getting. Now, obviously, like a lot of the hate that she's getting is fucked up. People are really pushing at her hard with the overtly racist stuff. But I think there's a lot of people in general that are upset at the character being bad, and then Disney's just calling them racist to, I guess, avert any blame about their poor character writing. But yeah, I don't know. So there's fans make accusations that Reva is a diversity hire, and I just want to go into if there's any truth to that. And this is just me venting, obviously. Disney dismisses all the criticism as racism. So this is the same storyline we saw play out in the Disney trilogy with regards to Finn and Rose. You have poorly written characters that are... All right, so here's where I get into the conspiracy theory.
Finn was good. Finn was really good.
Finn was awful. Even the character, John Boyega, come out afterwards and was kind of like bitching about how they didn't have nothing for his character to do.
In the second and third film, but the first film he was good.
In the second and third one. Yes. They didn't have... Yes. So... my theory is these movies, they're written almost like by committee. You've got so many different hands in the pot wanting to add and take away from this and that. You end up having all these different characters, and just for whatever reason, Disney Star Wars cannot write, like if there's going to be 15 characters in a movie or series, they can only make like 5 good characters, and they're going to have like 5 mediocre characters and 5 shitty characters. My theory is they give the 5 shitty characters, they give them to minority actors. That way, when people point out that they're shitty characters, they get to call everybody racist. So, I feel like I've really hit on something pretty solid here, and I needed to get this out to the community as quickly as possible.
Was it your argument that they're not able to write that many good characters, or just on average? Comparatively, only some of them are going to seem good compared to the others, or what?
I think it's a bit of both. Yes, I think that there's a lot of incompetent writers that they get to work for them. But also, I think it's just it's natural that when you have so many hands in the pot, like you're just going to have a certain number of characters that aren't going to be fleshed out because the story has to proceed at a certain pace. There have to be there has to be so many elements. We got to have this character. We got to have this happen. And you're just not going to have enough time to be able to flesh all the characters out or give them correct motivations like they should, like if you had 1 or 2 people writing it, and you're just going to end up with a couple characters that are just going to be garbage. And Disney smartly gives those to minority actors and actresses so that they can avert blame whenever it comes at them for their poor writing and their shitty stories.
Smart. I don't know if that's smart. I don't know.
Is it? So anyways, I don't know. So I had some problems with Reva in general. First off, I think it comes off, it's just poor acting. I don't know. Did you get the film when you're listening to her talk? That like everything sounded really cringy and it just didn't. It wasn't even the dialogue. The dialogue was kind of cheesy, but I think the acting and the delivery of a lot of the lines was. Yeah,
it was just really bad directing. I don't want to blame the actress because I don't think it's her fault. She's a good actress, and she was acting well, but I think the directing was just piss poor, man. The character design was bad also. There's 2 things going on there. She really stood out. She really stood out as bad.
Yeah, she's incredibly one note. So her whole thing is she's mad. She's just angry. And I felt like they were trying to channel like the anger and angst of prequel Anakin, episode 2, episode 3 Anakin. And it did not pan out, I think, how they were hoping,
Don't understand my power.
There was purpose and there was real emotion and depth behind Anakin's anger. On the surface, what you saw was his anger, but there was something under it. With her, it's just anger, and it got so annoying. It just kind of detracts from the story. People are upset. She kind of hits all the woke markers. She's self-assured, doesn't really care what others think. She's constantly ignoring what the members of her group are asking of her. Her mission is hers alone, which kind of makes you wonder why that group will let her be a part of it anyway. I understand you can't just leave the Inquisitors, but the idea that they take her out on their field trips is kind of silly. It really took away from the seriousness and the dread of the bad guys from this series to have this petulant child whining that she wants another ice cream cone the entire time. She wants to do what she wants to do. She's physically dominant, so you got to have that too. She's beating a more powerful character right off the bat. Once again, this is like Rey or Finn from the Disney trilogy. Rey has no training whatsoever, and she's like beating up on Kylo somehow or another.
Oh, he's a douche.
Yeah, well, he's also a trained Force user. Have some respect.
Fair enough.
Mentally dominant, she's able to outsmart all the other members of her group. She also, incidentally, I actually laughed when this happened. She destroyed a symbol of the white patriarchy. She had that ongoing spat with this uber white British dude that keeps cramping her style. And then out of nowhere, she just stabs him with a lightsaber. I was watching this with my girlfriend.
Are you talking about
the Grand Inquisitor? Yeah,
he's a symbol of the white because he's painted white. What the fuck?
Because he's painted white and he has a British accent. And she stabbed him, and I go, "That's what." I was sitting right here with my girlfriend. And I go, "That's what you get, patriarchy."
That's the head of the Dust East India Trading Company, right there.
That's it. That's the Boer War. Just
young Mitch McConnell.
All of it compressed into. Yeah. So Disney loves to give us these shitty minority characters, then cry racism when people don't like them. It's almost as if, because of how mangled and garbled the scripts are and how many characters they need to include, this is what I was talking about earlier, there can only be a certain number that are interesting. I miss the days when you could make incredibly problematic depictions of minority characters like Jar Jar or the Trade Federation.
Or Lord of the Rings.
Or Lord of the Rings. What this brings me to is, should art be a dictatorship? Or is art something, because I would argue that this is art by committee. They're trying to maybe almost democratize art. Everybody's getting their say. Everybody gets to have their input on how these films turn out. And I don't think that democracy works in art. I think you need a strong leader at the top that makes his pronouncements and writes it in isolation or with a small amount of help that this person is asking for. But yeah, I think that just any art in general, it needs to be a dictatorship. You can't have democracies.
Well, I don't think the problem here is democracy. I think the problem here is these movies are written by an algorithm designed to maximize profits. They made her basically a cartoon to appeal to kids, I think, because kids understand simple concepts. And I have a theory about her character. It seems silly now the way she's acting. She stands out. But in my opinion, she's probably going to wind up turning to the good side and probably like saving the day at the end of the series here, I imagine. She'll be friends with Obi-Wan or some shit. She's probably going to have some sort of character arc. And that's why the beginning of her arc, she seems so over the top. That's just my theory. I guess we'll find out.
Yeah, it's very fair to say, Tony, we're only a couple episodes in and you're already making judgments on this person. Like,